You're on.
Okay, late night from Willowdale. We haven't done a video in a long time. We thought we'd give everyone a break. But obviously we thought we'd do a very short one where this will only be a few minutes, 5-6 minutes. The big issue of the day is Saudi Arabia. And everyone who's watched some of these videos know that I can't stand Saudi Arabia. I think it's one of the most despicable countries on the planet Earth. I don't even know why Canada has relations with Saudi Arabia. I don't know why any country has relations with Saudi Arabia. Obviously they have oil, right? But Canada doesn't need their oil. So this spat that's been going on this week, Canada criticized the treatment of two human rights activists in Saudi Arabia. Okay? Canada criticized the treatment of two human rights activists in Saudi Arabia. And the Saudis went nuts. Totally off the deep end on this. Cutting commercial ties, trying to de-investing in Canadian securities and bonds, not buying Canadian wheat, wanting to bring Saudi students who are studying in Canada home. I mean, just totally off the deep end. Just because Canada criticized Saudi human rights practices. This over-the-top retaliation is because Saudi Arabia does not like criticism of any type. They don't want. This is a very sensitive issue for them, and they don't like it. Other countries have criticized them and have also been retaliated against: the Brits, the Swedes, the Germans. And that's why Canada is not getting a lot of support in the world community, because nobody wants to get on Saudi Arabia's bad side. Just like nobody in the Republican Party wants to get on Donald Trump's bad side. Saudi Arabia seems to have all this power over other countries, and it is amazing. The New York Times today's New York Times, August 8th, has a really good editorial, Saudi Arabia's ugly spat with Canada. They actually point out that the Saudis are signatory to the United Nations Charter and the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Think about it, right? Saudi is a signatory, the Charter on Human Rights, the UN Charter on Human Rights, and yet one of the biggest human rights abusers in the world. This is a country that still decapitates people. It beheads people, like for the simplest of crimes. This is a crazy place, and I think Canada should just break off relations. They're not a big trading partner of ours. We don't need their oil, that's for certain. And we can find other markets for our goods. So I think Canada should just break off relations. This is a 13th century theocracy. What are we doing having relations with a country like this? We don't have relations with Iran. Iran, it's not a beacon of human rights either. But at least in Iran, there are elections, and they're generally considered fair and representative. We don't have relations with Iran, yet we have relations with Saudi Arabia. This spat with Saudi Arabia is surreal, but it's a good opportunity for Canada to show the rest of the world that we're not gonna play footsie with Saudi Arabia. I just think we should break off relations with them, and that would send a message. It's not gonna happen, but I'm happy that Canada actually criticized Saudi Arabia. Good, that's a good move by the Trudeau government. And the fact that the rest of the world is too scared of Saudi Arabia to support Canada, well, that's shocking. That's absolutely shocking. So, that's all I wanted to say. I think that, the point is that the Saudis don't like criticism, and they lash out at countries that criticize them. They think they have all this power, but they really don't. And the rest of the world seems to be scared of Saudi Arabia. That is shocking. But anyways, I think Canada should do something really bold and break relations with Saudi Arabia and show the rest of the world that we won't be bullied. Hey, that's what should happen. And Saudi Arabia, really. This is a 13th century theocracy, and I've repeated that. And what are we doing having relations with this country that treats women like dirt? And this new guy, MBS, they call him Mohammed bin Salman. He's supposed to be a reformer. He's a thug. He's just a dirtbag thug. And look what he's done in Yemen. Look at the slaughter in Yemen that the Saudis and the Americans are promoting. Terrible. Just terrible. Anyways, that's it on Saudi. You got my point of view. Break off relations and show the rest of the world that we won't be bullied by this 13th century medieval theocracy. On Ford, quickly on Ford. Ford has made some real bonehead moves in the first month and a bit as Premier of Ontario. Getting rid of the sex ed curriculum that took a long time to put in place under the Wynne government. There was an update. Obviously, it hadn't been updated since 1998. Putting a hold on that and wanting to go back to the old curriculum. It's absolutely crazy. Getting rid of the green energy program, basically. Canceling contracts for windmill farms. That's going to cost taxpayers a lot of money. Crazy. You know, McGuinty canceled the gas plants, and look at that thing, just hounded him and Wynne for years. Ford is doing the same thing with windmill and solar and all that, and he's not. And the Germans are really upset because they're not going to get compensated properly. But a lot of this is going to cost taxpayers money, canceling these projects that were already, some of them, almost complete. And where's the criticism? So much hypocrisy. So yeah, bonehead moves on the green energy program, getting rid of it. Absolutely stupid. We should be moving to a green economy, alternative energy and all that. Ontario is the perfect place for this. The sex ed thing, bonehead move. The update was much needed and necessary. Going back to the old curriculum is just, well, it's bizarre. Talking about 13th century theocracy, like, geez. But he did make, and he's made some other basic income program. The buck a beer thing is so silly. And wanting to privatize sale of cannabis, that's, yeah, crazy. It was better to be sold in government-run outlets. But the one move that he made that I support was the move on Toronto City Council. Anything that makes that dysfunctional body a bit more efficient is a good thing. And whether it's reducing city councillors to 25 from 47 is going to work, or whether it saves a lot of money, I think it's a good idea to put the council in alignment with the federal and provincial boundaries. And Toronto City Council is a joke. Look at the Scarborough sub. We can't even get a subway extension out to Scarborough Town Centre. The thing with the Scarborough subway soap opera says it all about the dysfunctionality of Toronto City Council. These are a bunch of clowns, and I think that Ford should have gone further and appointed an administrator, like a viceroy, an administrator to run city council. I think that these clowns can't run it. These buffoons can't run the city properly. So why not appoint a provincial administrator to do the job, and temporarily until city council can get its act together, which who knows they will ever do. Yeah. That's the one smart thing he did, and it sends a message, if anything. Yeah, Toronto City Council is a joke, and I should think the City Council should be suspended, and I had an administrator. That sounds dictatorial, I know, especially after talking about Saudi Arabia, but this will be a temporal measure to get things done in the city. I mean, really. Yeah, the rainstorm we had recently, city infrastructure that can't handle all this rain with climate change and everything. Time to get onto these things, yeah, and we definitely need a new mayor. John Tory is just a clown. I hope the Keysmat wins in November. Anyways, that's it. I wanted a short video. Now it's about 8-9 minutes, I think, right? So, Khalid, I think that's it. I think we're good.
That's pretty much it? Okay.
Yeah.